Hello and welcome to Friday the 13th MLB DFS slate breakdown. It is September 13th. We're going to be breaking it down. We have a big slate again to go over, so it should be fun. And then just as a programming note, so you guys know, a new NFL Week 2 main slate DFS breakdown will be out later today. Now, let's dive into it. Before we do, come join us at LineStar. There's so many different ways to get involved. Cheap. You got free 7-day trials through the App Store. You got our promo offers right down there. Parlay Play, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard, all of which can give you up to 1 month free for only depositing $10. Just follow the rules necessary here. Promo codes are all LineStar. Click to get the offers to get directly to those platforms. Now, let's get in. Please, as a reminder, like, comment, and subscribe to our video. Helps us a ton. And let's get to the perfect lineups from yesterday. So we're not going to go over the winning lineups. I will touch on the perfect lineups. We had Nasty Nestor get it done. 3-man Rangers stack, 2-man Brewers, and then some one-offs on DK. And then over on FanDuel, the perfect lineup went to Frankie Montas. We had Jensen, 3-man Rangers stack, and one-offs there. So let's get back over to DK, Frankie Montas in both, and let's check out today's slate. So 11 games. Big injury weather situation is in this Dodgers and Atlanta Braves game. They're going to do everything they can to try and get this one because there are big time implications to the playoffs and the season's, getting short here. We don't have much time left in the season, so they're absolutely going to try and get this game in if they can. However, there are storms all over Atlanta, and there are going to be storms all weekend over Atlanta. So it's going to be hard. There's going to be, there's potential for delays, potential for postponement, but we really need to watch weather as we get in closer to the game. But I do believe they're going to end up trying to do whatever they can to get this game done if possible. So, right now for pitching, I would say, probably stay away. However, we're going to get a better idea of what's going on later in the day. Just want to make sure you guys understand there is some major weather concerns there. Now, let's get to pitching. DraftKings, I owned Tanner Bybee, 22% owned, 8.3K. A little cheap for Bybee. He has been 9K guy pretty much all year. He's in a decent spot here. He's just fallen off a little bit. He has a 3.49 FIP over his last 20, but it's up to 4.73 over the last 5. The K rate has dropped about 1%. He's a 26.6% over the last 20, and he's down to 25%. His StatCast data is a little scary, allowing a lot of hard contact, decent amount of fly balls, but still missing some bats, not that many barrel balls. So I'm not too worried about the StatCast data, but it doesn't look great. At least we do have wind coming in today at 8 miles an hour, and it's against the Rays, who aren't that great versus righties, and a combined K rate of 25.4. I'm fine with going some Bybee, but I'm also not trying to get a ton of him. However, pitching is pretty weak, so I wouldn't be surprised if I have a little more Bybee than I really wanted to at the end of the day. Next, we got Yusei Kikuchi. He has been absolutely dealing since he has been an Astro. 3.06 FIP, 28% K rate over the last 5 starts. 4.02 over the last 20 with a 28% K rate there too. StatCast data is fine. He does have a little bit of hard contact there, but this Angels offense just isn't that good. I absolutely do not mind some Kikuchi. He is one of my favorite pitchers on this slate, if not my favorite one, and I'm going to probably get a lot of them. 9.2K, 2.1X, and a 27.2% combined K rate in a good spot. I'm here for it. Next, we got Dylan Cease. Man, As a Padre fan, I really need Cease to come through today. However, I gotta say, it's a little worrisome. He has struggled a little against San Francisco. He also just faced them last week. 3 appearances versus them this year. 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 Ks. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. 4.2 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks. So 7 Ks has been his ceiling. He's given up 2 to 4 earned runs every single start, and he's averaging 31% less fantasy points away. So it's really not a great situation for Cease. However, at least the Giants just aren't that great of a hitting team. Over the last 20 days, 20 games, 223 average, 299 WOBA, 177 ISO. So at least hitting the ball hard. However, that WOBA has been falling, or that ISO has been falling down. A few days ago, it was up to like 190. So they haven't been hitting the ball as hard as they were. Now, I think it's fine to get some Dylan Cease. His ceiling is there. It can absolutely happen. But there's definitely some worry in trying to go to Cease. Now, his price is down to 9.4, and he's clearly a 10K guy. So I'm intrigued. I don't love the spot, but like I said, pitching's pretty rough, so I'm going to end up with some Cease for sure. Kikuchi's my favorite pitcher. Cease and Bybee are second and third. Jacob deGrom is making his season debut. He hasn't pitched since April 28th last year. He had some rehab starts, and he went 4 innings in his last rehab start. He's likely going to be limited. Rangers don't really have a hope this year, so they're going to have kid gloves with him and be very careful. I would be surprised if he really works deep enough into the game to make it worthy to start. Now, it's Jacob deGrom. I mean, in 4 innings, he can have a game. Like, he can end up having 8 Ks. The one thing is that if he doesn't go 5 innings, he's out of the win bonus. So I'm going to probably not go to Jacob deGrom. I understand if people want to go there, but I just think he's probably a little bit too limited to really end up doing it. All right, now we got Brady Abasso 4K versus the White Sox after pitching a gem. Guy went 6 innings, no earned run, and 6 Ks. Got the quality start. Fortunately, didn't get a win there, but pitched an absolute gem versus Detroit. Now he faces the White Sox, who we know are awful. I don't even have to go into those numbers because they're so bad. At 4K, when you just did that versus a team last week, I think you kind of got to consider him, and I am fully on board with going for some Basso in this spot at only 4K on DraftKings. I mean, there's no better team you want to face. He just had some success, so why not try it a little bit? And if you look at his 3, relief outings, he did decently in those. He did have this one where he gave up 2 earned runs, 2 Ks, but he's been all right. I'm fine to take a chance on him. Only 4K is just too cheap. Clark Schmidt, 8.2K. This is a spot that I'm a little bit interested in. He's been pitching very well, 2.74 FIP. His K rate's not that high, but Boston K is at 25%. The one thing is that Boston, hits righties pretty good. They have been slumping lately, so maybe you can attack that aspect of it. The way Clark Schmidt has been pitching and the pitching on a whole as a slate, I'm a little bit interested, but definitely will not have very much. Landon Knack with the weather and him not being very good, I'm out versus the Braves. Bailey Ober, he's a little interesting. So this is the thing with Bailey Ober is that he's just a little inconsistent, but when he's on, he has big time ceiling. I mean, he's hit 40 twice. He's hit 38 once. He's hit 33. He has that chance to go upper 20s. And for that reason, I am a little bit interested in this matchup. Now, the Reds are definitely no piece of cake, but at least they do strike out a little bit, and Ober has some strikeout upside. So at 8.6K, He's at home. I'm a little bit intrigued. It's not the easiest matchup, but at least we got winds blowing in. He's pitcher-friendly venue and at home, so I'm a little interested in Mr. Ober. Freddie Peralta, don't really like him facing Arizona, who has been red hot, and he has been struggling. I don't think this is the spot where he really gets it going. However, we know he has ceiling, and he's going to go super low owned. So for that reason, you maybe want to sprinkle him in. But I, for one, am probably going to go elsewhere. Tanner Huck hasn't been that great lately. He does still have a 3.89 FIP over his last 20, so a little bit of interest there. But he's versus the Yankees. The Yankees have struggled, but I think they're going to turn around very soon, and he's been averaging 25% more fantasy points at home. Do I want to go there? No. But, pitching just isn't really bad or really good. There's 3, maybe 4 options on this slate that I actually like, and then everything kind of has some warts on it. Garrett Crochet, absolutely not. He's just not pitching enough. Eric Fetty, been struggling a little bit recently, and the Toronto Blue Jays has been a little hot. Don't really want to go there. Logan Webb, we know he's a very good pitcher, but he's really struggled versus the Padres this year, and Padres just don't give that much upside. Meanwhile, Webb doesn't have big-time K stuff, so I can't really go there. Eduardo Rodriguez is a little bit interesting. Milwaukee struggles a little bit versus lefties, and Erod's been decent. FIP of 4.18 over the last 20. The thing here is just not much upside. However, he is only 6.7K, so if you want to get real different and pay down, he is a decent option. Sam Aldegari is another one you can actually go to. He had 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks versus Texas last week. Now he gets Houston, which is another offense that I do not like to, pick on just because they don't strike out much and they put a lot of balls in play. But pitching is awful today. Spencer Swollenback, I would be interested in him. The guy has been dealing, but with the weather concerns and the Dodgers, I'm probably kind of out. If it was just the Dodgers, I would consider it. But with the weather, I just can't really do it. Now, we don't really know what's going on weather-wise until later in the day. So if you see me with some of him in my lineup, it's because I think the weather is not going to be an issue. I think he is a little interesting. Very, very tough spot, though, and that's the big-time issue there. Now, let's get over to FanDuel. Check our ownership here for pitching. We got Tanner Bybee as the high-owned here on FanDuel as well, 8.5K. Price is right. He has been dealing all year in a decent spot. Makes some sense to want to go there. Dylan Cease, 9.2K. That price is way down. Very much interested in Dylan Cease. I actually do like him a little more than Bybee. Just because the upside is there, however, and left owned. However, he hasn't done that well versus the Giants, so do what you will with that. Yusei Kikuchi is probably my favorite, and he is coming in the third. He is the most expensive, but I don't really worry about it, and I'm gonna take him. Jacob deGrom, like I said, he is likely going to be limited. If we get any news at all that he is going, say, 80, 85 pitches, then I'm probably in on deGrom. But if I don't hear that type of number, then I'm probably out. He only went 4 innings in his rehab outing. Bailey Ober, 9.8K, is a little interesting as far as a super low owned pivot with some upside. And then I'm pretty much out on everybody else for FanDuel. So let's get over some stacks now, see what we got here. We got pretty low totals outside of the one Colorado game, so we know Colorado is going to be pretty high owned. Weather's decent, mild temps, or warm-ish temps. High value stacks. We got Minnesota. Makes all the sense with the pitcher they're facing. 6.65 FIP in his very limited role so far. And then we have the White Sox versus Basso. Guy's only made 1 career MLB start. So you got to at least consider the White Sox a little bit. Oakland versus Garrett Crochet. He hasn't been the same pitcher since they've, limited his innings. He's likely only going to 3-4 innings, and then he has a bad bullpen behind him. Makes some sense to want some Oakland, who has been hot. St. Louis is popping up a little bit. We don't know who they are pitching against with Toronto, but that bullpen behind whoever the starter is awful, so absolutely in consideration. Our highest owned stacks of the day, we got the Cubs. Good old Chicago versus Austin Gomber. Gomber's been pitching better lately, but it is a Colorado game. 50% ownership is not enough to want to fade them just because of ownership. And then Milwaukee versus Erod. I don't really like to pick on Erod, but I'm not opposed to it. However, at second highest owned team, don't really like it. Probably not going to go there too much. Minnesota, I'm definitely going to have some. Now, our highest projected, we got Cubs, Dodgers. Dodgers are facing a very good pitcher. However, weather concerns there, so maybe he doesn't go as deep into the game as he normally would because there's a delay or something like that, making the Dodgers a little more interesting. Now our highest ceiling stacks, we got Arizona versus Freddie Peralta. He hasn't been good lately. A FIP of 5.08 over his last 5 and a 4.68 over his last 20. They're low owned and he hasn't been good. He has name recognition, but the numbers just don't support people staying away from him. So definitely interested in some Arizona. Also interested in Cubs. Colorado is in Colorado as well, and same game environment with much less ownership, so very interested in Colorado. Our highest implied run total is the Cubs at 5.9. Then all the way down at 5.1 is Colorado with Assad. Then 4.8 is Houston and Minnesota. So you have 1.1 difference between the Cubs and Houston or Minnesota. It's a big difference. Generally not as big of a difference there. So I would say ownership is definitely going to go to the Cubs and the Rockies. Now, Rockies are going to end up being way less owned. So I'm going to have some interest in the Rockies, get some of that game environment. But if that game fails, then you have 6-7 teams that are all looking interesting. Houston, Minnesota, Yankees, Arizona, Braves, Dodgers, all between 4.8 and 4.5. That difference is extremely small. All of them are decent offenses and can get it done. I like them all. And then you have Cleveland, Oakland, Toronto right behind that. And those teams are all also hitting decently right now. Oakland's been hot. Toronto's been hot. And Cleveland needs to get it together to end the season strong and clinch that division. So that'll do it today. I think there's a lot of interesting ways to go. Good luck. I will be back later at that NFL show. You guys have a good one. Peace.